Hello everybody. Today we move on to the third lecture in our series of search methods in artificial intelligence. And the topic of the lecture today is heuristic search methods. Till now, we have examined in details the state space modeling concept, which consists of a state or a configuration by which we model a problem. And this state or configuration will have a set of variables, and amongst these variables there will be constraints so as to define what is a valid configuration and a invalid configuration. Then, given any state as input, the state transformation rules or the moves are a set of rules which, given a particular state or configuration, produces the valid set of next states. That means, according to the definition of the problem and the implicit state space of the problem, what are the next states given a state? Then this series of state transformation rules and state configurations form a graph called the state space graph or the implicit graph. The nodes of this graph are the states, and the edges of the graph are defined by the valid state transformation rules from one state to another. Given an initial or a start state and a testing condition for a goal state, our objective is to find a solution from a start state to reach the goal states. Now, depending on whether this is just an OR graph or an AND OR graph, which we have discussed in details earlier, the solution for a pure OR graph will be a path from start to goal. But if it is an AND OR graph, then it will be a subgraph of ANDed subnodes, where the last nodes are all goal nodes. And instead of making the search space explicit upfront, search algorithms intelligently explore this implicit search space by opening up and exploring only that portion that is essential. In addition, it uses domain-specific knowledge of a particular problem, which are called heuristics, to guide the search further. We have seen several cases and example problems. We saw the traveling salesperson problem earlier, and we saw the state space that is generated by the traveling salesperson problem. Another famous problem is the sliding puzzle problem. This is a problem which we have played as children. It can have these 9 slots with one blank slot, and these blank slots can move by switching. For example, this blank slot can move here and the 7 could move here. Or this blank slot could move up and the 6 could move down, or the 5, and so forth. So given an initial configuration and a goal configuration like this, we are required to find the path from start to goal. Here again, the problem can be modeled by a set of 9 variables as a state, and the state transformation rules can be defined as moving the blank tile up, down, left or right, and in the corners and the edges, obviously all the moves are not applicable. Again, like in the traveling salesperson problem, we not only want to find the path, but we want to find the shortest path in some form. Here in the sliding tile problem, every move is of cost 1, therefore the shortest path and the shortest length path are the same. Whereas in the traveling salesperson problem, there are edge weights, so even 2 paths of the same length can have different costs. We come to the third problem which we want to define today. This is the famous knapsack problem. We have got a sack, a knapsack, which can be carried on somebody's back, and there is a maximum weight capacity of that knapsack. Now we have got several possible items to take into the knapsack. In this one, this 400 ounce is the maximum capacity of this sack. Now the items, there are 5 possible items that I can take. I can take some simple coins or gold biscuits or something like that, whose weight is 10 ounce and whose value is $1,000. Or I can take a 100-ounce set of gold coins whose value is $2,000. Or I can take a 300-ounce set of gold bars whose value is $4,000. I can take a couple of very precious diamond and gold rings which only weighs 1 ounce but costs $5,000, whose value is $5,000. Or I can take a pot of gold whose total weight is 200 ounce and value is $5,000. Now, suppose I number them 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I cannot take all of them together because their weight exceeds 400 ounce. The question is, which subset should I take so that we get maximum value within the weight limits? And you can see that there are several possibilities, and from these possibilities we will easily be able to make out that if I leave out item 2 and I take 1, 3, 4 and 5, I will get the maximum value. Now this is an interesting problem because the traveling salesperson problem and the sliding puzzle problem are minimization problems, and this is a maximization problem. We will remember this problem when we at the end of this lecture and discuss it further. Then in the previous lecture we have discussed that there are basic algorithms: depth first, breadth first, and iterative deepening search. We also introduced the concept of costs on edges, and today we will introduce the concept of heuristics or problem specific information and lead to the algorithms A star, IDA star, and others. For AND OR graphs, we have the algorithm AO star, and for game trees, we have alpha beta pruning, and we have other algorithms, but that will be discussed in other lectures. In the last day, we talked about 3 algorithms on a graph. We talked about depth first search, we talked about breadth first search, and we talked about iterative deepening search. The basic algorithms are of the same type. There is an important list called the open list. And this open list consists of the nodes that are to be explored further. There is another list called the closed list, and this closed list is the set of nodes which have already been explored and their children generated. We start with the open list of the start node and the closed list empty. We pick out the first node in the open list. If the first node is empty, if the open list is empty, we terminate. The node that we remove in step 2 is tested in step 3, and if it satisfies the goal condition, we may terminate or continue. And we have seen in breadth first search we can terminate, in depth first search we can terminate or continue. If it is not the goal node, that is, if it is a goal node, we terminate here. Otherwise, we move on to generate the children of this node. We put this node in closed, we generate its children, and depending on whether the children already exist in open list or not, we put it into the open list. In depth first search, we put it in the front of the list. In breadth first search, we put it at the end of the list. So in depth first search, we use the stack data structure, and in breadth first search, we use the queue data structure, as we have already discussed. And we go on repeating this. So these are the 2 basic algorithms: depth first search and breadth first search. And iterative deepening search is actually depth first search, which performs depth first search level by level. And by performing it level by level, it gets some advantageous property that its first solution could be optimal in an ordinary graph. When we come to costs, then obviously we have to take into account the cost of the node. That means what is the cost of the node from the start to the goal. Because in the previous case, it was all costs were 1. So now in this algorithm, at any point, every node will have what is called a GN value. The GN value is the cost or the current cost of the node from start. And there, in depth first search, we continue the same procedure as before by putting elements in the beginning of the queue. But here, when we reach termination, then we do not stop. We just update the cost to the current best and continue and go on improving the solution through the depth first search process. We shall see this in more details. Whereas in breadth first search, instead of putting it at the end of the queue, in breadth first search, we now order the list. So in breadth first search, we order the list by G values. So then it becomes best first search. So instead of a queue, now it becomes an ordered queue or a priority queue ordered by the cost values. The third thing that we now see is the use of heuristic information. And that is something we will add problem specific or domain specific information to these costs to now modify our problem statement to the heuristic search problem statement. So now the heuristic search domain has the same concept of state space search. It has got a state configuration, it has got state transformation rules, it has got the implicit state, it has got the solution, goal and start state, it has got a solution. But now we have, in addition to the other information, problem specific information. Previously we said we have a GN value, which is the cost of the path from start to this node n. Now we will have a new estimate called the heuristic estimate. So this is going to be called the heuristic estimate. What is this heuristic estimate? The heuristic estimate Hn is equal to the estimated cost of the best path from n to goal. We are considering only OR nodes now, not AND OR graphs. So heuristic estimate, in addition, so every node which has come from a start node n has got a GN value we know, which is the cost of the path from start to this node n. In addition, it will have another value called Hn, which is the estimated cost of the best path from n to goal. And heuristic search will now use a value Fn is equal to Gn plus Hn to guide the search. Previously in depth first search or breadth first search we were using just the node. Then in cost based search we said we will use the Gn value to define how we go ahead to it. Now with the heuristic value available, we will use the estimator function Fn equal to Gn, which is the cost obtained till now, and Hn, which is the estimated cost from here for the best path. So heuristic search algorithms, which we will study today, algorithm A star, depth first branch and bound, and ID A star. These are the three algorithms we will study today. And these algorithms are going to use this Fn value. We will also see how better and better heuristic information makes our search better and better, faster, and explores less of the search space. Let us look at this sliding puzzle problem. The sliding puzzle problem, given a start state and a goal state, this is how the state space gets created. Here, the blank tile moves to this location of 7. So 7 moves here and this becomes blank. Similarly, this is how the state space is created, and this is how we are able to formulate a path from start, and this, as you can see, is the goal state. So there is a path, one path from start to goal like this. There are other paths from start to goal, as you can see, one is like this. Now, at any node n, somewhere, how do we compute Hn? Hn is said to be the estimated cost of the best path from n to goal. So here are two proposed heuristic estimates. The first is called the number of misplaced tiles. For example, if you look at this case, then if you look at this goal, 1 is out of place, 2 is out of place, 3 is in its place, 4 is in its place, 5 is in its place, 6 is out of place, 7 is in its place, and 8 is out of place. So there are only 4 misplaced tiles. However, we also note that in one move, one tile can be placed in its proper position. Therefore, this estimate is definitely a lower bound So the number of misplaced tiles will at least give you an idea of how many are there, and obviously the number of actual moves from that particular node to the goal will be more. It is a lower bound. Let us look at another option. Let us look at 2. What is the distance of 2 to its actual position? 1, because by one move 2 can go there at more. At least one move is required. 3 is in its position, so 1 requires one move because 1 is here and 1 needs to move here. 2 requires one move because 2 is here and 2 needs to move here. 3 requires no moves because it's in its place. 4 requires no moves. 5 requires no moves. 6 requires one move. 7 requires no moves. And 8 requires 2 moves. And 8, as you see, it is here. It has to move here. So it will either move this way or this way. So 8 requires 2 moves. So this estimate, as you can see, will give you 5. And obviously, this second heuristic is more accurate because in one step you can move only one place and you have to move at least the number of places which are the tile distances. So we have got two heuristics, H1 and H2. H1 gives the number of misplaced tiles and it will tell you 4. H2 is the sum of tile distances, it will tell you 5. Both are underestimates. And therefore, both will give you a lower bound and at least that many moves are required. And because the second one gives you 5, obviously H2 is more accurate than H1. So this is an idea of what is a heuristic for a particular problem. It gives you an estimate of the cost of the remaining cost from the current node to the goal node. Let us look at the traveling salesperson problem that we have seen earlier. We have also seen the state space on the right that we have noted, and this state space on the right. So at any point, I have visited a subset of the nodes and I require to move from the remaining subset and come back to the original node A. So what could be heuristic estimates? We examine and explore two heuristic estimates. The first is the cost of the shortest cost path from the current node to the start through the remaining nodes only. Now we know that in the traveling salesperson problem, every node needs to be visited. So since in this case A, B and C have been visited, D and E have to be visited and it has to go back to A. So if we consider the remaining graph consisting only of nodes D, E and A, and we find as C, D, E and A and remove B, then and remove all edges from C to B and C to A, then the graph that we get, the shortest cost path from C to A, will give us an estimate. Because since it needs to cover all the nodes, the shortest cost path need not cover all the nodes. And therefore, if I am already in A, B and C as in this node, then I have the option of going back to A. If we remove this, I have the option of going back to A either this way or this way. These are the two options that I have of going back to A. And of these two, obviously, we can easily make out which one is shorter. One is 200 plus 110, that is 330. The other is 90 plus 190, which is 280. So the estimated remaining cost from this node to the goal will be at least 280. So that is a heuristic estimate. Here is the second option that we have. The second option that we have is, again, we consider the remaining graph. We remove the edges from C to A and we remove the node B. And we find the minimum cost spanning tree of the remaining graph. Which means, because the minimum cost spanning tree tries to take into account that every node will have to be covered. So by finding the minimum cost spanning tree of that remaining graph, we will get an estimate of the cost of that graph. And in this case, the minimum cost spanning tree can easily be found from C and D, this, and this, which will actually cover, because I need to go back to A, so, and I have removed this edge, so I have 90 plus 50 plus 110. And obviously this is again a lower bound, because this tree is not the path that we want to look up for the way in which we want to solve the problem. So the cost that we get is 90 plus 110 is 200 plus 50, which is 250 in this case. Whereas in the other one we got 280. So there are various ways in which we can find heuristic estimates, and each of these heuristic estimates are an underestimate. Here also, both of them are underestimates. And given two heuristics, which one to use is something that we will discuss a little later. Now, having a graph which has got costs at the node, and the red colored marked items are all the heuristic estimates at different nodes. These are all the heuristic estimates at different nodes. So the problem of heuristic search is defined in the following way. Given a graph where the implicit graph by the state configuration, state transformation rules, and the edge costs of the state transformation rules, and a heuristic estimate at every node, and we will assume that this heuristic estimate h is greater than 0, and we will assume that we are solving a minimization problem. How do we modify our original search algorithms, depth first search, breadth first search, iterative deepening search, to cater to this scenario and obtain the next possible algorithms? These algorithms are called heuristic search algorithms, and we shall now discuss heuristic search algorithms. We shall first discuss the best first search algorithm in our graphs, which is popularly known as algorithm A star. It is the extension of breadth first search, where we use, as we have just mentioned, three items. We use the concept of GN, which is the estimated cost of the path from start to the node, which is GN. We use the concept of HN, which is the heuristic estimate at a node, and we define our Fn equal to Gn plus Hn, and we use this Fn equal to Gn plus Hn to guide the search. Now we assume all edge costs are positive and all heuristic estimates are non-zero. So we do the same thing as breadth first search or whatever. We use that open list, and the open list initially consists of the start node. GS is made 0, and since GS is 0, FS will be HS. Closed is empty. Again we select the first node in open. That means the node in open which has got minimum Fn. That means we order open with Fn values. If open is empty, we terminate with failure. That means there is no path to the goal. After we have selected the minimum Fn node from open, we check for goal like we did in the previous algorithms. If n is goal, like in breadth first search, we terminate with success and we produce this path, and as we shall show that if the heuristic estimates are lower bounds for a minimization problem and monotonic, then we will guarantee to get the minimum cost path from start to goal at the first terminal state. If that is not terminal, again we generate its children. We put n in the list closed. Then we generate for every ni, we start testing. What we do is we now compute, because what does this mean? If a node is not already in open or closed, then we compute the value, new value of GNI for that node. GNI for that node is the GN of the parent and the cost of the edge from n to ni, and we compute the new Fni of that node from as GNI plus HNI and put that node in open list. So if that node is a new node, we compute its new GN value and Fn value and we put it in open. But if that node is already in open, that means that node was in open, it had come through a different path, now it has come through another path. So it already has a GN value. The Hn value is the same for a node irrespective of whether it comes from. Now this Ni had a GNI value and an HNI value. Now I have a new path coming into this node from node n. So I have now computed a new value and I will check this G dashed, which is equal to Gn plus Cn Ni. And I will check whether G dashed is less than GNI, existing GNI, or equal to or greater. If this G dashed is greater than or equal to the existing GNI, which means I have come with a larger cost path, I do nothing. But if I come with a smaller cost path, that means if the new GNI which is already there in that GN, if the existing GNI is greater than GN plus GNNI or greater than, then, which means that the new cost is smaller, then I revise this cost of GNI. So if it is already in open and I come with a smaller cost, then I update the value of GNI. And once I have done this, I go back to selection of the node. So it is the same as breadth first search with the riders that I am using GN value, I am using HN value, I am using the FN value to order the open list. And I am again removing the first node or the minimum cost FN value from open list. I am generating children and putting them into the open list. But for those which are new, I compute the GN value and put it into the open list. For those which are existing, I check whether the new path is of lower cost. If the new path is of lower cost, I update the GN values. And I continue doing this till I reach the first goal node, which is removed from open in step 2. And once that is done, I terminate. This is the algorithm A star. It is also called best first search in R graphs. We now go through the execution of algorithm A star. The algorithm A star, as we all know, it consists of the series of steps mentioned before. Every node has got an H value, and these are marked in red in this particular graph. A is the start node, I and J are the goal nodes. For the goal nodes, their edge values are obviously 0. Each edge has an edge cost based on the state transformation rules. So initially, the open list consists of the start node. And once it consists of the start node, the G value of the start node is 0 and its F value is equal to H value, which is 6. Being the only node in open, it is removed from open and put in closed. Once it is put in closed, then A, which was in, so suppose this is the open list and this is the closed list. Then in step 1, we have S A in open, start node A in open, and closed is null. Then in step 2, A is put to closed and the following children B, C and D are put in open. So we have B, we have C and we have D in open. So this is step 2. Now B, we notice, has got a G value equal to 10 and H value 5, so its F value is equal to 15. C has a G value equal to 12, H value 4, so its F value is 16. D has a G value 5 and its H value, so G is equal to 5 and its H value is 3, so its F value is equal to 8. Being the minimum node of cost 8 in F value as per algorithm A star, it is removed from open in next step. So B, C remain, D is removed and put in closed. And what is put in open now? Here are the two children G and H. G and H are the two children which are put. So for H, so G and H are put in open. Now for H, what do we have? For H, we have its G value equal to 5 plus 4. So G was 5 here and 4 here. So G is equal to 9 and its H value is 3. Therefore, its F value is equal to 12. Similarly, we have for G, this G node, the G value was 5 and the edge cost is 6. So its actual cost will be 5 plus 6, 11, and so G value is 11 and its H value is 1, so its F value is 12. So again, this was 5 plus 4, 9, plus 3, 12. This is 5 plus 6, 11, plus 1, 12. Both are 12. We can select any one of them. Let us say we select H in the next step. Typically, if two nodes have the same F value, we choose the one with a smaller G. Typically, though it's not mentioned in the algorithm. So now H goes here, B, C, and G, and H has got one child which is node C. Now node C, what do we come to node C with? We had 5 and 4, 9, 10, 11. So we are now coming to node C from a cost of 9 plus 2, which is the edge cost is 11. Its existing G value is 12. So we will update its G value and its G value will now become 11. H value is 4. So its F value will now get updated to 15. So this H value, which was 16 here, now gets updated to 15. So here is one case which we saw where the H value gets updated. Now, so no new node is added, but the H value, the F value of C gets updated. Now from these three nodes, we will notice that G has got the minimum cost. So we will remove G, and put G enclosed in step 5, and B, C, and J will get into. We know that B is of F value 15, C is of new F value 15, and J, once we come to J, its G value is 11 plus 3, 14. Its H value is 0, so its F value is equal to 14. Now, this being the minimum cost node, J is removed. So once J is removed and put removed, now J being a goal node, we terminate, and we terminate with a solution of cost 14. This is how the algorithm A star works. We have detailed it out in this step. Similarly, we have again detailed out the algorithm, execution of the algorithm in a different form here. This is the initial step, then A is put in closed, then D is put in closed, then H is put in closed, and once H is put in closed, then immediately as we see, the values of various nodes get updated. So once H comes into open to closed, we have seen how the value of C gets updated from 16 to 15. And then once H is put in closed, then we open up and find G, just as we did. So this, as we said, is a best first algorithm. The second thing that we are going to say is that the first solution is the one we terminate with. So what are the properties of algorithm A star? The first property, and algorithm A star has got some very interesting properties. So we are first assuming the heuristic estimates are non-negative. They are lower bounds, like we saw in the puzzle problem or the traveling salesperson problem, and the edge costs are all positive. Then we see the first solution is optimal. This is the first property. Second, we see that no node in closed is reopened. That means you will never come to a node which is enclosed with a smaller cost. So you will never come to a node enclosed with lower cost. Third is, whenever a node is removed from open, its minimum cost from start to that node has been found. Which means that whenever I remove a node from open in step 2, then that G value of that node is the shortest cost path from start to that node. Which means that whenever I remove a terminal node, the first solution is optimal. That is, if I remove any node from open as in step 2 as the minimum node in open list, I have reached the shortest path to that node, provided the conditions are satisfied. Then there are another interesting property. Every node who has got Fn less than the optimal cost is expanded. Every node. This also requires the heuristics to be monotonic, but I'm not going to so much details. Because the nodes are removed from open in terms of being the minimum cost, therefore the sequence of nodes that are removed from open are non-decreasing in cost. Which means that if your goal node is of cost 235, and if there is any other node whose Fn value is less than 235, then it will exist in open before that. So all nodes whose Fn is less than the optimal cost is expanded. The last one is the most interesting thing. If you look at the nodes expanded, if I'm using two heuristics H1 and H2 and both are lower bound estimates, and I know that H2 is greater than or equal to H1, at least greater than H1, then this heuristic is more accurate. We have seen that case in the sliding tile puzzle, and we can prove, and I'm not going to the proof here, but I would request you to look at up in the book, that a heuristic which is more accurate will expand fewer nodes. These are some of the fundamental properties of algorithm A*. This algorithm has been widely used in a large number of problems like wire routing, scheduling, traveling salesman, and so many other problems that we have discussed earlier. It is one of the foundational and most popular algorithms which is used for solving AI problems through automated problem solving using heuristic search. Now we come to how do we modify the depth first search algorithm. So we perform depth first search. We initialize we use the concept of best cost. We initialize the best cost to infinity, and then we perform depth first search. By removing that first node from the open list, children are put back to the open list. And whenever we reach a node whose Fn is greater than or equal to the best cost, and this node n is not the goal, then we do not generate its children. That means we backtrack from them. On reaching a new goal node, we check whether the cost of that goal node is greater than or less than or equal to the current best cost. If it is less than the current best cost in a minimization problem, we update the best cost to this new current best, and we continue this till the open list becomes empty, which means we do not terminate at the first solution. We continue the search, and we use a bounding or a pruning technique here to ensure that no node which is useless to expand is expanded. Let us see how our algorithm works. In this case, let us again identify the steps and let us see how open list works and closed list works. In step 1, obviously we have A. In step 2, A goes to closed, and I have this current best equal to infinity, as I said in the algorithm. Now I generate these three children, B, C, and D, and I know that B has got an F value of 15, C has got an F value of 16, and D has got an F value of 8. But since I put them in this order, I had removed this and put it in closed. Now I will remove this and put it in closed. So I will remove B and put it in closed. And then I will generate and put the children E, F, and G in the beginning of open. And C and D. And E will have a cost 18 plus 9, 27. F will have a cost 17 plus 3, 20. G will have a cost 16 plus 1, 17. C continues to have this as 8. Then I will again remove in depth first search E, and I will generate node I, node J, and F will remain, G will remain, C will remain, D will remain. And as you can see, the cost of this I will be 36. The cost of J will be 32. And obviously F is 20, G is 17, C is 16, and D is 8. And when I remove I from this, now nobody else, but what will happen is that this current best will now move from infinity to 36. And I will have in this list J, F, G, C, D, and then this will be 32, this will be 20, this will be 17, this will be 16, and 8. Then I will remove J, and this cost, because I have now come to it with a better cost, this cost will get updated to 32. And after I have removed J, I will have in the list G, C, D, and this will be 17, this will be 16, this will be 8. Now what we see here is very interesting. From G, I will generate J again. And this time, I will generate J with a cost which was 17 plus 3, 20. So I will generate J with 20. And from G, I will also generate H, because from G there is a path from G to H. So I will also generate node H. And C and D will remain. And the value of node H, since G was this one, plus 13H cost, this will be 33. And C will remain 16 and D will be 8. And again when I remove J, this cost will get updated to 20. So the algorithm will continue this way till it opens up D at some point in time. From there it will go again to G and open up J, and eventually it will reach a cost of 14. On the other hand, if I had ordered the depth first search instead of this ordering, if I had ordered the depth first search by D, C, and B, because I could order the children in any order, then you can see that the search would have found the shorter cost path earlier. So depth first search is directional. It depends on the direction in which we do the search. and therefore the solution that is obtained as the first solution is not the optimal, but it can continue to find the optimal solution, and then it does a directional search. Now we come to the iterative deepening A star algorithm. As we said, it is depth first branch and bound in steps, in iterations. In pure unit cost paths, it was doing level by level. Now it will do cost by cost, which means that it will set an initial cost bound. It will perform depth first search with this cost bound, which means that instead of doing level by level, it will do a cost bound depth first search, and it will backtrack from any node whose f is greater than this cutoff, which is initially set to f value. If solution is found, then we end that iteration in step 3. If solution is not found, then we update this cutoff bound. How do we update? We look at all the nodes that we backtracked from. So the search backtracks like this. So here are all the nodes that we backtracked from. And from all these nodes which have their f values, we pick the minimum one. And we choose that minimum one as the new cutoff. And we repeat. And as we repeat it in this particular way, we will notice that the first solution that we get will be optimal. This is a very unique algorithm which gets the first solution optimal in an iterative depth first search manner using the fs values and using cutoff bounds. So how does this work? In the first iteration, my cutoff bound is 6. Cutoff is 6. So I will expand node A and I will backtrack from this node, and this node. And the nodes that I have backtracked from have got f value 15, 16 and 8. So my new cutoff will become 8. Once my new cutoff is 8, the second iteration of search will again expand this node, will backtrack from this node, will expand this node, generate these two children, and out of these children we will see that the cost of B remains 15, the cost of C remains 16, the cost of G, which is 5 plus 6 plus 1, which is 12, and the cost of H, which is 5 plus 9 plus 3, which is 12. So the minimum of these two is 12, so the new cutoff is set to 12. Once the new cutoff is set to 12, the iteration again begins. So we restart, again we do A, we backtrack from B because these costs are higher, we backtrack from this, we expand this, we expand this, we expand this, we update C's cost because now we go from here to here. We update the cost of C to 15. So C's cost is updated to 15. These are cutoff values. This side on the left side are all cutoff values. And we expand J, whose cost is 14. So we now have these three nodes, 15, 15 and 14. And these nodes A, D, G and H are already expanded. Out of this, the new cutoff is set to be 14. Once the new cutoff is set to be 14, the search starts again. Again we do A, we backtrack from B because this is 15, we backtrack from C, we expand D, we generate its children G and H. Once we generate its children G and H, then we generate J, and since J is found to be the goal within the cutoff bound, we terminate. So we see a very interesting property of algorithm ID star. Whereas it re-expands nodes in multiple iterations, it also ensures that the first solution that it gets is minimal. That is why it is an iterative deepening best first search. That is why it is called IDA star. So just comparing these three algorithms, The first solution is the terminal solution for both A star and ID star, whereas depth first branch and bound continues, and it terminates when open is empty. Memory requirement for depth first branch and bound is minimal, for A star is maximal, and the node expansions of A star is smaller than DFBB and ID star, because ID star repeatedly re-explores nodes. The heuristic accuracy effect is the same for all, which means that if I have got heuristics which are more accurate, then the particular search algorithm will be faster. It will take less time, it will expand less number of nodes. These are important properties. They have detailed proofs which I have not done here. I will request you to have a look at them. Now we solved all this for minimization problems. What do we do for maximization problems? In maximization problems, we have to find the maximal cost path. That means we have to find a solution which is of maximum cost. So here, the condition of the heuristic estimate, Hn, we do the same thing. We use Gn, we use Hn, we use Fn equal to Gn plus Hn. But in step 2, we remove the node in open with largest Fn. Earlier we were removing the node in open with smallest Fn. And the rest is the same thing we continue in A star. This is what we do in A star. But we also require for termination, the Hn now must be an overestimate. That means that the Hn value must overestimate the actual optimal cost. Here the optimal cost is the maximum cost. So it must overestimate the actual optimal cost. So these are the two modifications that we need to do for maximization problems. We just discussed another maximization problem earlier, which is the knapsack problem. And in the knapsack problem, we now need to define a state configuration. A state configuration can be defined as the items currently chosen. And for this list of items currently chosen, we can find the total weight and total value. It's initialized to nothing chosen, total weight is 0 and total value is null. Then we can order the elements and take an item I1. The state transformation rules are, there can be many ways. One is to choose every item and generate children. The other is to choose an item and say it will be taken or not taken. So if it is item 1, then the next state would be 1 is taken, and the remaining items are 2, 3, 4 and 5, and suppose this is item 1, then its weight will become 10 and its value will become 1000. Whereas if item 1 is not taken, then the state continues to remain like this. Again, we look at item 2 and we can generate by taken, not taken, and this is how we will generate the state transformation rules. The goal state is a state where we have looked at all possible items, and a valid state is one in which the total capacity of that is within the actual knapsack size, and the solution that we want is the total profit must be maximized. I leave it to you all to examine how this algorithm will be developed What will be the HN value for this? How will we compute the heuristic value? And how will the trace of algorithm A star work on this? A star, DFBB, and IDA star. How will they work on a maximization problem like the knapsack problem? Please examine it, please go through it once, and I'm sure that you will come up with a very interesting solution. With this, today we have completed the heuristic search algorithms, which are the foundational algorithms. We have discussed the A star algorithm, the depth first branch and bound algorithm, and the IDA star algorithm. Thank you very much.